Who are the top players to add right now? Find out next on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Tuesday, May 13th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White. Let's take a look at some of the most added hitters on CBS right now. Two outfielders, Scott. Evan Carter, who returned recently, we know had a ton of prospect pedigree, also had back surgery last year. Has been doing some things since returning to the Rangers. And Trent Grisham, 2 more home runs here on Monday. Might just be this year's Jurickson Profar. Who do you like between the two, Evan Carter or Trent Grisham?
I mean, you got to say Grisham at this point. He's up to 12 home runs. I don't even know where that ranks among the leaders. It's very high. There aren't many players with more than that. And can he sustain it? Probably not. But he is striking out far less than ever before. It's like an 18% strikeout rate. Normally he's above 25, between 25 and 30. So big improvement there for Grisham. Also the highest pull air rate of his career, which is one way that you get more home runs out of roughly the same exit velocities. Now he is hitting the ball harder on average. So it isn't fair to say roughly the same exit velocities, but the whole overall exit velocity profile hasn't improved with him setting a new career max and everything. So he's getting more production out of basically the same contact quality. But I think those two factors, the dramatically improved strikeout rate and the improved pull air rate, help to explain why Grisham's off to a hot start. It's not going to continue. He's not going to homer at this rate, but will he be good enough to continue the logjam in the Yankees lineup? I think there's a pretty good chance of that. And certainly in 5 outfielder leagues, you got to start Grisham until he gives you a reason not to.
Let's slide over to catchers because Ivan Herrera in a 1-catcher league, still just 71% rostered on CBS, hit his 5th home run here on Monday. He has a hit in each of the 3 games since coming off the IL and just off to a tremendous start in the 10 games that he's played this year. Scott, it just feels like Ivan Herrera should be rostered in close to 100% of CBS leagues. I think every 1-catcher league.
It's just 2 hitters with more than 12 homers, by the way, Aaron Judge and Kyle Schwarber. Yeah, Ivan Herrera, I think he's great. Every part of the hitting profile looks great. He's got a great minor league track record. And he's come back from the IL looking just as strong as before he went on. So it's kind of a struggle to get him high enough in the rest of season catcher rankings, to be perfectly honest. And the full season, and the full length podcast, I should say, we were kind of struggling with this together. Definitely ahead of Sean Murphy at this point, Hunter Goodman, I would say ahead of Logan O'Hoppe. I was able to get him as high as 10th. That leaves him behind Shea Langoliers for now. It puts him ahead of Agustin Ramirez. I don't know. He might just belong ahead of Langoliers and even JT Realmuto, who I have 9th. That's how much confidence I have in Ivan Herrera at this point, and the upside is top 5 at the position, I would say.
Let's talk about another catcher. The Cubs are promoting one of their prospects, Moises Ballesteros, who was crushing it in the minors this season, hitting well over 300, great OPS, makes a ton of contact as well. I think he's a name you can look at in 2-catcher leagues, Scott, but we just don't know how long he's going to stick around and, frankly, how much he's going to play for the Cubs. So what do you think about Moises Ballesteros?
Yeah, 2-catcher leagues, obviously, there's you go for that upside. Somebody in your league has a second catcher that is just trash because the position isn't that deep. But it has become pretty deep from a 1-catcher context, as we were just talking about with Ivan Herrera, struggling to get him higher than 10th and moving him ahead of some pretty valuable players. So it would be a stretch, I think, to add Ballesteros at this point in a 1-catcher league, given the uncertainties over the playing time and how long he'll stick around. Like, he deserves this clearly, as well as he was performing at AAA. He was striking out less than every other game down there. Line drive rate of 28%, hits the ball to the opposite field as often as he pulls it. It's a profile that's built for batting average, but it has premium exit velocity still. And so I think Ballesteros, there's a good chance he just hits the ground running and proves to be a viable major league hitter. The problem is he's only a catcher. He's played some first base in the minors, but he's 5'8", and that's not. You want a nice long and lean first baseman. You don't want a bowling ball over there. So it might not be a problem in other organizations, but the Cubs already can't find enough at bats for the catchers they had before calling up Ballesteros, with Carson Kelly's emergence this year to go with Miguel Amaya. So I'm guessing what happens is Ballesteros, being a left-handed batter, he plays against right-handers at DH, and the Cubs stick to what they were already doing behind the plate with Kelly and Amaya, and then maybe against left-handers they start both Kelly and Amaya. But this is only viable until Ian Happ returns from the oblique injury, because then they're back to having 4 outfielders for 3 spots and have to send Seiya Suzuki back to DH. Maybe Ballesteros can find a way to stay by hitting well enough. I just don't see how they make those 3 catchers work.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. Welcome back in, FBT Express. Let's slide over to the most added pitchers on CBS. 3 starting pitchers: AJ Smith-Shawver, Cade Horton, and Tomoyuki Sugano. Scott, how would you rank those 3? Are you genuinely excited about any of them? Smith-Shawver, Cade Horton, Tomoyuki Sugano.
I am pretty excited about Smith-Shawver at this point. His last 4 starts have been great, and the splitter has become a premium pitch for him. Swinging strike rate overall looks good. Needs to limit the walks, as is true of a lot of young pitchers with good stuff, but he does have good stuff, and I think he's sticking around for the long haul. So Smith-Shawver would be the easy top choice there. Sugano, and who was the third one?
Cade Horton.
Yeah, I mean, Horton has upside too. It was even a higher end prospect than Smith-Shawver on some lists, but I think he's just a 2-pitch pitcher right now, and he has even more pronounced control issues. And I'm not sure he has as much runway as Smith-Shawver. So you could take a flyer on him for the upside, but I'm not sure how usable he'll be or for how long. Sugano's been usable, but it's a very boring profile. It's a lot of hard contact. It's not many strikeouts. They have picked up a little bit in recent starts, but it's still not a good rate. He throws a lot of strikes, but you look at the expected ERA for Sugano, it's about 2 runs higher than the actual ERA. And at this stage of his career, with so little track record to fall back on, I'm inclined to believe the advanced stats over the surface level ones.
Last question regarding 2 starting pitchers returning from injury: Clayton Kershaw or Ryan Weathers. Who do you like more between the 2?
Very different team context, right? And obviously favors Kershaw. Weathers, I trust the stuff for Weathers more. The stuff is very exciting. He was one of the biggest risers this spring, a trendy sleeper pick. I think I'd go with him over Kershaw. Kershaw had already lost a decent amount of velocity, and it seemed like it might have reached a breaking point last year. It was the first time where he didn't just automatically come through for you in fantasy after a long injury layoff. And then during his rehab assignment this year, it's averaging like 87 on the fastball. It's very low now. So he's Clayton Kershaw, and he may find a way, but the odds are against him this time, I would say.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.